And what's good with y'all, man? It's your boy Tick, aka Game Fanatic, to Michael Jordan, the game. And yeah, I know I haven't done a calm in forever, man. Man, I ran out of topics. I ain't even gonna lie to you. I had a whole bunch and I didn't use them and I forgot what they were. And so I didn't have much to talk about. And I'm sitting here leaning out the corner because somebody just took a shot at me. But anyway, this is one of my last gameplays on the beta. It was on my hard drive for a long while because I never used it. But I decided to use it decided to use it to get off my hard drive. But anyway, I'm about to get killed by this dude. I don't know how I missed him, but he took me out. But anyway, if you haven't seen my last video, it was a Tekken Tag Tournament live calm video. It was just me playing it against the guy, and you get my live reaction and everything. It will be in the vid response, and I'm going to do a lot more videos like that. And I know I've been neglecting my Metro 2033 videos, but I am going to get back on that and finish that game off so I can start a new Let's Play series with another game. So if you guys haven't been watching that, you guys should be watching it because you're missing out on a very good game. I mean, the game is great. But I want to talk about something, man. The quality of video games nowadays has just been horrible. And I know y'all probably like, oh gosh, go another video from Tick talking about his opinion. Yeah, it's my opinion. But, you know, I know you guys know this is kind of true. Come on now. But I'm not going to say it's true. I'm just going to say it's my opinion. Get the Duke, even though he killed me. But the quality of video games have been horrible since this generation of consoles have been out, man. They just seem to lack the depth. You know, most of the games are. It seems like the developers focus more on cinematics and graphics, compared to the gameplay. I mean, back in the day, you know, on PlayStation 2 and Xbox, and you know, Dreamcast and stuff, man, video games had a lot more that you can do in them than now. I mean, I don't know. It seems like the developers have gotten lazy. They're just throwing games out and putting $60 on them because they know people are just going to buy them. I mean, let's face it. Video games nowadays have gotten easier and more simpler than what they were before. And you know, I've said this a lot of times. I don't want to sound like a broken record, but it's true. Video games have gotten a lot easier than what they were in the past. So, if you don't understand what I'm saying, look at your last few manuals in your last games that you got, like the last 3 games I could say that you got recently. Just look at your manual. Look how small it is compared to the manuals that we used to get back on the PlayStation 2 and stuff like that. I mean, the manuals nowadays are like 4 pages long at the most. Back in the day, man, you used to get like a huge thick manual of like probably 30 something pages or 20 something pages. And I used to like that because they used to tell you the backstory. They used to tell you the information about the characters, and then they'd tell you about the features and the controls. Nowadays, games don't even do that, especially if it's a sequel to a game, because they don't really add that many new features to the game to start with. So they're like, well, it's basically the same game, just a different story. We don't have to add, you know, anything to the manual. You know, they probably played the beginning, so it doesn't matter. And that's just, I don't know, man. That's just a shame to me. I mean, back in the day, you know, I'm from, you know, the Nintendo era. You know, I'm a 90s baby, I guess you could say. I was born in the 80s, but I did most of my growing up in the 90s, the early 90s. So I guess you could say I'm a 90s baby, born in the 80s, raised in the 90s. So I was playing on the Sega Genesis and Nintendos, and back then, you know, there were no cinematics or quick time events or anything like that in video games. It was all core gameplay. You might have had some little cinematics that weren't like movies or anything. They were just little screenshots and text on the bottom because, you know, they didn't have any, you know, they had a limited sound chip back then, so there was no talking and stuff like that. You know, it was just all text and stuff like that. So you would have mostly gameplay. I remember playing games like Streets of Rage and stuff like that, and it was just so much you can do. And comparing them to games that are like that nowadays, I mean, they're so basic. I mean, half the time you can't even pick up a weapon. You only could just punch and stuff like that, and it's just so bland. I mean, good example. Back in the day, I bought Army of 2. I know you guys heard of that game. I heard T-Fly now. He said something about that in the video, Army of 2. And I still have the game, but I bought this game when it was basically new, and I thought it was just going to be amazing. Like, I thought it was going to be so much I can do in a game, you know, other than just running and shooting people, but I was wrong. when I got the game, I found out it was just very repetitive. And people actually like this game. This is a very popular game. They spawned out a sequel, and they're coming out with another sequel soon. But I thought it was so much I could do on this game, like run up on someone, pick them up, and slam them with the big guy. Like I was expecting, you know, you had Rios and you had whatchamacallit, I forgot his name, but you had those two. Rios was like a bigger guy than the other guy. He was like stronger and whatever, but they didn't even have the game that way. Like I thought they were gonna have it like, okay, well Rios, he would be able to pick up heavier things, hold doors open and stuff like that, and the other guy would be more agile for like jumping and stuff like that. But they didn't have anything like that. If they would have had the game more in depth, they would have had the game, you know, the way I'm talking about. You know, had, you know, them use their different strengths in the game. But no, the whole game was just run to point A to point B and get behind cover, suppress fire on this enemy, sneak around and shoot, and rinse and repeat. And that's so repetitive, man. That's what I'm talking about, how games nowadays have no depth. And games like Gears of War, another popular game, very repetitive gameplay. Same thing. Go to point A, point B, hide behind cover, shoot at the monsters, rinse and repeat. And that's not fun to me. A lot of people love these games because they say the story is great and the graphics are good. Because Army of 2 had great graphics at that time, and it also had, you know, a good story. But it's a video game, and video games are supposed to be good. I think I made a comment about this a while ago, but I don't care. I'm repeating it for all the new people that join. But a video game is supposed to be about gameplay. That's what games back in the day did very well. You know, they had a lot of depth in the game. They had, if you had a strong guy and a small guy, the small guy was always the more agile, faster. The big guy was always the strongest, and you know, he was the brute. He did the most damage. And I just remember getting Army of 2 and just feeling let down, like, man, this game could have been so much better if they would have thought more into it. But that's just me, man. I don't know. That's how I think about video games. Mass Effect is another game that people like because of the story, but I think the gameplay is just horrible and boring and repetitive. But that's just me. A lot of people like it because of the, you know, the cinematics and stuff. But, you know, like I said, I don't get down with games like that. But anyway, leave a comment in the feedback. I mean, no, not leave a comment in the feedback. Leave some feedback in the comment section and let me know how you think about it. But this is your boy Tick, aka Game Fanatic, Michael Jordan the Gaming, and I'm gone. Bye.